the agenda. Propose that late items, the July 11, 2016 CAL meeting minutes for approval, as well under item 6E, Committee of the Whole July 11, 2016 recommendation. And late item 8A regarding sanitary sewer collection system, 7468 Lanceville Road. And item 9D, late motion regarding the recording of recording of in-camera meetings. That would be 9D. Okay. Any other additions, deletions?
What was the first one you mentioned?
The minutes of the July 11, 2016 Committee of the Whole. Councillor Paulson.
2, perhaps 3. The in-camera motion. I don't believe that's an in-camera item.
Sorry, this recording?
No, the in-camera motion that to be
Part
of
the item that
11.
is
Do we talk about that now, or?
Okay. In order to talk about it, we have to go in camera. Would be where the concerns. Mr. McCarty, correct me if I'm wrong?
No, you're correct, Your Worship.
Okay. Now you said a couple items. How about if we deal with them in reverse order?
Well, I'll offer justification for the first one. 2014, there was a change to.
We've got to be careful.
No, this wasn't in camera. This.
Oh.
The corporate admin position was done publicly, and so to me, this is a comparable scenario.
We should.
But it should be part of a public agenda.
Go in camera to discuss that.
Okay. Okay.
Which we can do. Mr. McCarty,
We would recommend that this conversation goes any further. It needs to go on camera.
Yeah. Councillor.
You want me to leave?
Is it in relation to this?
Yeah, just
Okay.
a point of clarification. I think that might have been removed.
Sorry. What?
I saw.
Your Worship, I can't talk about any of this.
Okay.
No, I think she's just saying the camera.
Well, no, forget it. You're right. You're right.
Councillor Colson, you mentioned a couple of these.
Yeah. So the second one, the motion I submitted for addition on this agenda package that didn't make it.
Oh, okay. And we did some email back and forth.
Yeah.
Can we resolve it that way?
Well,
And it's not an in-camera item. So
no, I'd prefer it to be on the agenda.
Okay. Feel free to discuss it and explain all that for its conclusion.
Yeah, well, I submitted a motion regarding the community engagement software that I mentioned in my verbal update last meeting. Submitted it before the deadline. It did not make it on the agenda. I then had some follow-up communication with the mayor on the weekend about why. And yeah, I'd like to see it on the agenda. Please.
And follow-up clarification was in relation to an individual making a presentation to council. They can just be invited by an individual councillor or by themselves submitting a delegation request or a presentation request to staff. It doesn't need to be a council motion per se.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, from my standpoint, if we can do it separately without a motion, which then you just put in basic terms, one individual then effectively controls whether or not that ends up on the agenda as opposed to it being requiring a council decision.
Right. I just thought it was a timely matter to bring before council, so it didn't seem like, well, one, I wasn't sure if I could invite them directly because it might be out of our scope of powers, and the other one is I didn't want anyone to seem like I was shanghaiing them by all of a sudden there's a presentation that I've invited to council, so I'd prefer it to be brought forward now and we can have a little chat about it. And
okay. Council's well, we can put it on there and then we have a motion that goes to the agenda or otherwise.
Okay, sorry, Windows 10, my printer driver didn't do well, so I wasn't able to print a copy off today.
Oh.
So
okay.
I'd have to read it out verbally.
What the motion itself
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Okay. There was also a concern with respect to if we were considering going down a certain path, having a single proponent invited to present by council as opposed to invited by, present by an individual. Whether or not that invitation from council is viewed as an endorsement of that point, which is why the single invitation makes it as binding on council. I'm not sure if that's the right word.
Well, how is this any different than staff coming to us with a software recommendation?
That would be staff coming to us as opposed to the proponent coming directly to us.
Right, but we're just listening to a presentation.
I'm
Potentially.
not sure if optics is the right word, Mr. McRae.
Yes, through your worship, the mayor and I discussed this motion at length in regards to not attempting to fetter a member of council. The first piece was it was unclear whether the presentation was to be delivered to staff or whether it was to be delivered to council. As council is aware, the route for council to request for these types of matters is to have them appear before a delegation. If the matter was determined to be a presentation to staff, that's an operational piece, and if it was driven through strategic priorities or through policy, that's one thing. If it was driven through an operational plan where we were looking for that type of material, as well as I relayed to your worship the concerns surrounding the request of that particular software, which does not comply with community charter or legislation.
Just for clarification, in my discussions with Councillor Coulson, it was determined that the presentation was meant for council, not for staff.
And just to again clarify, your worship, it was not attempting to remove that. I was waiting for a motion to come back, whether it was going to be moved, and I would receive one.
So repeat that again.
As I discussed with your worship in regards to where the motion was going to go, I didn't hear any response back as I left it in the hands of the discussion. So there was no attempt to not have this on the agenda. Should the councillor wish to put that on the agenda, they can do so with the motion.
Okay. Councillor?
And there's nothing that would preclude this person from being a delegation of council. Procedure.
Absolutely not.
It's not kind of apples and oranges.
Well, no, because when it comes to the aspect, if an individual asks to be a delegation within our procedure bylaw, that's fine. Anybody can do that. If it's a case that council is going out and searching or engaging an individual, that is a different matter. Okay. Councillor Cole?
Did I hear correctly in the course of this conversation that what the proponent has is something we can't use because of charter?
Well, what it relates to is unfeathered
Yep.
in the company. It does a couple things. One revolves around elections, typically Bridgeworks First Nations elections, which is separate legislation. Also some work revolving around utilization of the software for community engagement, the best way to describe it, which into itself would not come under the community charter aspect, whereas the election side, which is what Mr. McRae was referring to, would be outside the charter.
But if council does have an interest in looking at community engagement software, we could draft up an RFP to try to invite some different ones. Because I know there's some other programs out there. City of Victoria is using PlaySpeak right now, and I'm sure there's some other ones I've seen presentations on this. So I think that's, I'll get back to you if you wish to go there.
So how about if we do this? How about if we put the item on the agenda for discussion and see where we end up? Yeah.
Thank you.
Which would be new business 9E. Discussion Councillor Colson, no?
Community engagement.
Community. Councillor Colson, do you have other
No, that's good.
I can smell you now.
I can smell it too. Big pen also.
Thank you. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
I showered.
Okay, so is everybody clear on
Yep.
what's there? Okay, so motion to approve as amended. Councillor Colfax, seconded by Councillor Swain. Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Hain?
So I'm unclear as to what happened with regards to the item that a member has raised that should be in camera. How we didn't deal with that? Do we go in again?
I need to go in camera, Your Worship.
We would need to do a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councillor Neary, second by Councillor Colclough. All is in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
We have a nice little waiting room across the street there.